Practice Settings tab shows basic contact and identification information for your clinic and allows you to add and edit the providers and staff who use the system. At the top of the window is the practice information, including the address and contact information for your clinic. Below that is the list of providers, and below that is the list of all system users. Providers will also have user accounts to give them access to your OfficePro services. Practice information includes the clinic's main contact information, address, main contact phone and fax, primary email, and website. It also includes 3 pieces of professional identifying information: tax ID, National Provider Identifier or NPI number, and Facility Identification number for institutions. You can edit any of this information by clicking the Edit button in the upper right corner of this window. You also have the option to add extra contact information, such as an after-hours phone number or a number for text messages. For the NPI number, please enter a Type 2 organizational NPI rather than a provider's personal NPI number. The providers list allows you to manage the practitioners who are responsible for the care of patients during their visits to your practice. A provider in OfficePro is empowered to sign charts, and the revenues for their services are tracked for reporting. Other users may include technicians and staff who may participate in care but are doing so under the delegated authority of a provider. We'll cover technicians in another tutorial about setting up your scheduling resources. On each provider's line, you can see the ID number the system has assigned to them, whether they're active or inactive, and whether they work full-time or part-time. You can view and edit a provider's work schedule by clicking on the colored Schedule button. You can change their active status by clicking on the diamond or check mark at the end of their line. For an active provider, you can click on the pencil icon to open the Edit Provider window. Here you can edit their credential and contact information, edit their weekly work schedule, Here you can edit their credential and contact information, edit their weekly work schedule, and give them a color for clarity in scheduling. The provider bio you enter here can be shown to patients through your website if you embed the Patient Pro portal. The last tab, Portal Settings, contains additional settings for this portal. You can check to allow patients to schedule visits with this provider online, check to allow patients to complete their own intake forms online, and if you wish, set pre- and post-visit buffers to give the provider time to prepare and chart between visits. You can also add new providers here. Remember that adding providers will affect your monthly fee for the OfficePro service. For a sample action, let's add a new provider. Click the Add Provider button on the right-hand side just above the list of providers. The minimum required fields are in bold. Full name, nickname, username, and password. When I enter these, it will ask me then to enter a schedule. And once that's complete, it will take me back to the list where I can see the new provider on my provider list. The new provider I added will also appear on the user list at the bottom of this window. This list shows everyone who has access to the system for this clinic, whether they're a provider, an assistant at the front desk, or a technician. You can also set up user access accounts for people outside of your practice, such as a bookkeeper or billing agent. On each user's line, you can see their name, username, whether they're one of the providers on the list above, their level of user access, and recent activity on their user account, such as setting a password. You can edit a user's name, username, password, the default schedule view they see, and which portions of the software they can access. For an example, Let's change a user's access level in default view. I'll click on the pencil icon to open the Edit User window. When I change the default view to Provider Sorted Graph, it means that now when this user looks at the schedule, they'll see the day's visits arranged with a separate column for each provider. In the Security tab, I'll check the boxes to give the user access to the lists of patients, products, and services, but not diagnosis codes. When I click the Edit User button, it will take me back to the list, where I can see a row of icons representing the features this user can access. You can find more information on user security and access levels in the OfficePro manual. Now that your clinic, providers, and users are set up, your staff can log in individually to use the software. Each user should have their own user account for security and HIPAA compliance. It's now possible to schedule appointments and meetings and see them reflected on provider schedules. In the next video, you'll learn how to set up your list of visit types, rooms and equipment, holidays, and other details you'll need for scheduling.